Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new, just a quick background about myself. My name is Farhan. I got my hair transplant done from Vera Clinic in Istanbul, Turkey for 50 to 100 grafts to the front of my head exactly 2 months ago today. So as you can see, this is sort of like the result for your 2-month update. I am going to upload a video for the 2-month update, so stay tuned for that. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 things that you should avoid before getting a hair transplant. So if you're interested in knowing that, stay till the end and we're going to talk about what those 10 things are. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that you should avoid before a hair transplant is alcohol. And the reason why you need to avoid alcohol is because alcohol can interfere with the anesthesia and the blood clotting process, which can cause bleeding, swelling, as well as infection. Alcohol can also dehydrate your body and affect your healing. Therefore, you should stop drinking alcohol at least 2 weeks before your surgery. The second thing that you should avoid before a hair transplant, I mean, technically you should be avoiding it like anyway, but especially before a hair transplant, is smoking. Smoking can impair your blood circulation and oxygen delivery, and which can slow down your healing and increase the risk of infection and scarring. Smoking can also damage your hair follicles and reduce the survival rate of the transplanted hair. So please make sure you quit smoking at least 3 days before your surgery happens. So the third thing you should avoid, and this is probably one that a lot of you might already be using, is Minoxidil. A lot of you will already know what Minoxidil is, but Minoxidil is a topical medication that is used to treat hair loss. The reason why you need to avoid Minoxidil is because it can cause excessive bleeding during and after the surgery because it dilates the blood vessels in your scalp. Essentially, Minoxidil is a way of improving blood supply to your scalp, but in this case you want to avoid that because you want to avoid excessive bleeding. Therefore, you should stop using Minoxidil at least 1 week before your surgery. So the fourth thing that you should avoid taking before a hair transplant is steroids. Now, steroids are drugs that are used to treat various medical conditions such as inflammation, allergies, or asthma. However, they can suppress your immune system and increase the risk of infection and poor healing. Therefore, you should avoid taking steroids at least 1 month before your surgery, unless your doctor advises otherwise. The fifth thing that you should avoid taking is, surprisingly, vitamins. Vitamins are essential nutrients that are good for your health and well-being, so of course you should be taking them regularly. However, some vitamins such as vitamin B and vitamin E can also thin your blood and cause bleeding and bruising. So you don't want blood thinners. You should be avoiding blood thinners essentially. And vitamins B and E are some of them. Therefore, you should avoid taking any supplements that contain these vitamins at least 1 week before your surgery. The sixth thing that you should be avoiding are blood thinners. Blood thinners are medications that are used to prevent blood clots and strokes. However, they can also increase the bleeding and swelling during and after the surgery, which can affect your results and recovery. Therefore, you should avoid taking any blood thinners such as aspirin, ibuprofen, warfarin, and heparin at least 1 week before your surgery unless your doctor advises otherwise. So the seventh thing on this list, which might surprise some people actually, that you should avoid taking before a hair transplant is green tea. Yes, of course, green tea has like a lot of benefits, such as it is an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and anti-cancer properties. However, green tea also acts as a natural blood thinner, and therefore anything that causes your thinning of your blood can result in bleeding and bruising. So because of that, you are also advised to stay away from green tea, just so that at least for a week, at least 3 days to a week before the hair transplant, just so that you can prevent your blood from thinning. So the 8th thing on the list is anti-inflammatory drugs. Anti-inflammatory drugs are used to reduce pain, fever, and inflammation. However, they can also interfere with the healing process and cause bleeding and swelling. Therefore, you should avoid taking anti-inflammatory drugs at least 1 week before your surgery, once again, unless your doctor advises otherwise. So this does not constitute medical advice, so always consult your doctor before you get off of any drugs or medicine that is critical to your functioning. The 9th thing that you should avoid, and this one is something that you should avoid generally as well, but before a hair transplant, you should avoid greasy and fatty foods, because greasy and fatty foods can increase your cholesterol and triglyceride levels, which can affect your blood flow and oxygen delivery. They can make you feel nauseous and vomit after the surgery, which can cause complications and discomfort. Therefore, you should try to stop eating or at least avoiding greasy and fatty foods 10 days before your surgery. So the 10th and final thing that you should avoid before a hair transplant is hair dye. Now, most of you know what hair dye is, but hair dye is a cosmetic product that is used to change the color of your hair. However, it can also damage your hair follicles and scalp and make it harder for the doctor to assess your hair quality and density. It can also cause allergic reactions and infections. Therefore, you should avoid dyeing your hair prior to your hair surgery. So, these were the 10 things that you should avoid before a hair transplant. Now, by no means is this list exhaustive. So, if there are other things that you find out through your own research, feel free to put it in the comments. Again, some of these things, for example, alcohol and smoking, are more important than the others. So it's not a necessity to avoid all of them, but in order to prevent bleeding or bruising, a lot of these things could help. So if you're looking for a guide on what things you should avoid before a hair transplant, I think this is a good list to start off with, and then see if there's anything else that you can figure out as well. If you like the content, please subscribe and share the video and like the video. I'm going to be putting out more content. Also stay tuned for the 2-month update, which will be coming out very soon. So see you again.